What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your man ChazzEllis once again. And a lot of people have been weighing in on the divorce of Tia Mowry and Cory Hardrict. I noticed a lot of people have been dragging Tia. Some people have been sticking up for Cory. And for some people, it's been the other way around. It's basically depending on where you fall as far as who you identify with in the situation. I'm not here to bash one person and big up the other person. I'm here to help you guys by really giving you some game and letting you have some understanding on some of the things that could have helped Tia have a smoother transition if she did decide to break up with her husband and move on, and what some of you might be needing to think about if you're in a relationship right now and you're thinking about ending it. The first thing you need to do before you break up with somebody so you don't end up out here in these streets regretting your decision is check up. You need to ask yourself 5 questions before you do anything. Number 1, is this person unbearable? Is it impossible for me to deal with them? Not the situation. I'm basically saying, if they won a lottery for $100 million, would I still feel like I couldn't deal with this person? If all of our problems as a couple that we have in the past were just erased, could I still deal with this person as they currently are? If their family just went away, could I deal with this person as they currently are? That's the first question you need to ask yourself. The second question you want to ask yourself is, could I be single? Like, if I was not able to find anybody else ever in life, is being single for life something that I would be willing to do and something that I would actually think is an upgrade from my current situation? The third question you want to ask is, could you accept them moving on? If they found a new girl tomorrow, 5 minutes from now, if they found a new dude, whatever side of the coin you might be on, if they found somebody else tomorrow, would you be cool with that? Could you be like, all right, whatever? The fourth thing you need to ask is, what would your immediate loss be? So would you lose your kids? Would you lose your house? Would you lose contact with friends and family members? Like, what would your immediate loss be based on what you can calculate at the moment? Number 5 is, what would your immediate gain be? Would you gain a house that you didn't currently have and don't have the ability to live in? Would you gain money that you don't currently have access to? Would you gain opportunity to be around friends that you can't be around now? You know, what would you gain in the breakup? After you've asked yourself those 5 questions and evaluated the answers, and you still decided you want to break up, the next thing you need to do is prep. What you need to do with prep is ask yourself some real questions. 3 of them. Where am I better than I was when we first got together? Where am I worse? Is the second question you want to ask. And the third question you want to ask is, what in this situation is my fault? Now, unfortunately, these questions are going to be tough for some people because you got all these people in your ears going to be like, slay queen, and it ain't your fault, everything is their fault. You're going to have people who are going to give you bad information, but this is when you have to self-evaluate, take the ego out of it, take all of the emotion and all that out of it, and just really get real with yourself. Where are you better? Where are you worse? And what is your fault? As far as your relationship and some of the issues you have in it, what's your fault? If you can't really get into those things, if you can't be honest with yourself about that, it's going to be almost impossible for you to really be successful once you get out into the dating game, especially long term. The second thing you want to do in the prep phase is fix. You want to fix yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. Why do you want to fix all of those things? If your entire financial future or existence is based on this person, when you guys break up, it's going to be a struggle because everything you're going to be doing is trying to get money from them. Everything you're going to be doing is going to be based on you trying to use them and their resources, which, hey, if you can get some money, cool. But you don't want to be in a position where you break up with this person and you spend the next 2 or 3 years really just trying to figure out ways to get what they have because you don't have any financial stability for yourself. You want to fix yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally and spiritually because you're going to attract really horrible people if you're out here mentally broken, physically just not up to par, emotionally just thrown off, spiritually you're all over the place. This is going to be a good opportunity for you to find people who are going to be bad shepherds, people who are going to lead you down the wrong path because you don't really have your way. Taking the time out to really kind of get yourself together, that's going to help you find the right people for yourself when the time comes, and also make it to where it's going to be easier if you can't find anybody for a while. The third thing you want to do in the prep phase is divest. What do I mean by that? Whatever person you might have on the side where you creeping, so I creep. Yeah, just keep it on the down low. You know, whatever. Y'all remember that TLC song? But if that's what you got going on, you got to understand you could be getting 80-20 right now. That person could be adding 20% of everything you need, and the other person that you had is 80% of everything you need. And you thinking this other person that you're trying to leave for is the whole honey. And they not the honey. All right, they the counterfeit honey. So you want to make sure that you separate from this person for a little while so that you can get a real understanding of, do I just want to leave because I got this person in my face and they're promising me a whole lot of stuff? They cooking meals just like I like it. They rubbing my feet. They whispering sweet nothings in my ear. And I'm over here, you know, just eating it all up, just doing it. Hey, you know, is that why I want to leave? Or is it because this person is really unbearable and this situation is really one that I cannot be in? If the situation is violent, if the situation is something where you feel in danger for your life, if it's an old Diddy type of situation that we saw on tape, if it's that kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? You know, you might want to go ahead and get out today. Like yesterday you want to get out. But, you know, if the situation isn't to that degree and you don't really feel like you're in any danger, then you need to ask yourself real questions like, if I'm dealing with another person, is that one of the reasons why I want to move on? Because I think this person is going to be my new boyfriend or girlfriend, because that may not work out. All right, so you got to be ready. That's why I say divest, so that if that person was totally off the table, you could look at your situation and say, you know what, I still would rather just move on. Also, you want to divest from friends who constantly tell you that you're right. If you got a cheering session of friends and family that's always like, yo, Slay Queen, you right about everything. Oh my God, I can't believe he did this. Oh my goodness, oh, he was gaslighting you. Oh my gosh, he's breadcrumbing. They throwing out everything. I think he's a narcissist. Man, I don't know what it is. All her fault, bro. Everything she do is dirty. She for the streets. You know, you don't need these type of people in your ear when you're thinking about moving on, because all they're going to do is just feed whatever it is you believe right now. But if it doesn't work out, they're not going to want to take any of the blame for your current situation. If you're out here like, man, I really wish I could go back, they're not going to support you in that situation. They might have just wanted you to be out here in these streets because they out here in these streets. They might have wanted you to not have a relationship because they don't have one, or maybe they do have one, but that's the only thing they got over you. So these are things you want to think about. Kind of back off of those type of people who are just being negative. Back off of negative stuff you're listening to on the internet, negative stuff you're listening to on the radio. Anything you're listening to that's kind of influencing you to feel like your situation is really bad, back off of that and see if you really feel that way even without those influences. Because if you really feel that way from your heart, you don't need somebody else constantly feeding that to you. You're going to feel that way no matter what. The fourth thing you want to do in the prep phase, and this is going to seem a little crazy, this is going to be the one we get the most pushback. Give it your all. This is going to seem crazy because a lot of people are like, why should I give it my all? I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. Fine. Understandable. But if you've made the changes in yourself that you need to make, the situation we've already calculated is not dangerous. Giving it your all is going to be the best way for you to leave this relationship without regret. You're going to have way more chances of feeling regret if you leave the relationship and you feel like you left something on the table. You feel like it could have been better. There are things that you could have done to change it. And maybe you could have got more out of the relationship than you did. That's going to make it really, really difficult to move on, especially during the tough times when you become single. And there are going to be some tough times. You might even roll into a new relationship right off bat, but that doesn't mean that there won't be tough times in that relationship. And that's what you got to think about. So before you get out there in the world, while you're still in the prep phase, what you want to do in that situation is really kind of double down and give it 30 to 60 days of doubling down on your relationship, working hard on it, trying to do everything you possibly can. That's going to be the fuel that you need to move on after this relationship is over. And give it some time, 30 to 60 days, because if you don't, and you only give it like a week, a lot of times that's not going to be enough to be your fuel for the next 6 to 7, maybe 8 years, because you might be single that long. You might go in and out of some bad relationships that long, or they might go find somebody and get married 2 months after y'all break up and be married 6, 7, 8 years while you're still kind of trying to figure it out. The fifth step in the prep phase is to find a realistic view of the dating world. You may have been out of the dating world for 5, 10, 15 years by now. For some of y'all, even 20. You have to really, really get a feel for what the dating world is like. Not from your buddies that's over here selling you a dream. Oh my gosh, it's so wonderful. Go find both perspectives. People who are happy with the dating world, people who are not. Start looking for yourself in the dating market. If you got 4 kids and you're 45 years old, don't look at somebody who's 20 years old with no children, on a yacht with a bunch of celebrities talking about, oh my gosh, hot girl summer, talking about how great things are being single. That's not you. I'm not saying you can't have fun, but you need to be watching how Stella got her groove back or something like that. You don't need to be watching JT and them and the City Girls popping and, listening to Lotto and all that. That's not for you. It's cool to listen to their music. You can enjoy it and all that kind of stuff. But if you're going to make a decision, their life probably isn't going to reflect yours. If you're a dude out here listening to 22-year-olds on podcasts talking about, yeah, I'm out here in the club and I'm in Miami and, they got 6 packs and they got, baby oil all on them and they got girls everywhere. That's probably not going to be your situation if you're a 45-year-old dad bod dude, that works at a plant somewhere. That's probably not going to be your situation. So you got to be real with yourself, not to say that it's going to be a bad situation, not to say you're not going to find anybody, not to say you're not going to have fun, but do you really want to be in the club every night for the next 2 years? You probably don't, but a 21-year-old does. A 23-year-old does. So these are things you have to think about, like what's my real situation and can I handle being single with my situation? What do I expect to get from the single life? Do I expect to get somebody with more money? Why would I? Do I expect to get somebody that's better looking? Why would I? Do I expect to get somebody who has better family? Do I expect to have an escape from being a mother or a father? Well, you're going to have to still do something with them damn kids. I mean, just being real with you. So these are things that you want to think about, be realistic about. Look for people who are in your situation who are telling it both ways, negative and positive. If all you look for is positive affirmation for what you want to do, then you're going to get a rude awakening when the real world hits you. Look for stories about people who are doing well being single. Look for stories for people who have flopped and are doing terrible. put those together and see yourself in them. Okay, what's going on with this person, and what do I see? How do I see myself having some of the same problems? And how do I see myself having some of the same successes? The last stage is the breakup. The first thing you want to do is keep it simple. If you can break up with somebody and keep it as amicable as possible, even if you have to leave some things on the table in terms of finances, you're breaking up with them. So trying to go and take everything you possibly can, or trying to keep everything you possibly can, that may end up being a mistake, because a lot of times that creates a great amount of bad blood. It makes the situation take even longer. And a lot of times you end up more and more miserable by the time it's all done, because divorces and breakups can be really draining, especially when you're being petty. The next thing you want to make sure you do is break clean. Don't do the breakup, go back, sleep with the person 4, 5, 6 times. Call them all the time, get mad when you see them with somebody else. Look, you broke up with them, keep it moving. Going back and forth is going to do nothing but make you feel like you're halfway in that relationship and halfway in the world, which is going to make it even more difficult for you to move on, and make you even sadder if they move on. If you all up in their face, hanging out with them smoochy one day and then you go cold on them the next, eventually they're probably going to get tired of that and find somebody else. But unfortunately, when they do, that may be a time when you feel like being hot again. Now you trying to be all up in their face and they hit you with the Heisman. Yeah. Pressing that mug right in your face and not allowing you to get the access to them that you once had. Now you're sad. Now you're brokenhearted. So clean break. Whatever happens after that, that's cool, but clean break. Once you've been away from this person for about 30 days, maybe 60 days, you want to do a new evaluation. Okay, 30 to 60 days may not be enough time for you to find somebody new. It may not be enough time for you to get the most out of being single, but be real about how things are going right this second. Am I successful with this? Is it kind of going like I wanted it to? What are some of the challenges that I'm facing that I may not have expected? What are some of the good things about it that I may not have even recognized that would be there? Am I benefiting overall? If I have children, do they seem to be adjusting pretty well? These are things that you want to look at, because this is going to decide whether you start becoming more and more miserable as time goes on, or you become happier because you've now figured out that this is your new normal and you can accept it. If it's not something that you can accept, if you really decided, hey, you know what, this ain't it, don't let ego investment stop you from going back, okay? This is a good time for you to think, okay, it ain't going the way I wanted to go. This really sucks. I may have got back with that person that I divested from. And, being with them full time wasn't it. I might have thought I was going to get more in the divorce settlement. It didn't really work out. Or maybe I did get a lot, but I spent it already. Whatever the case may be. Maybe you just don't want to be alone all the time. Maybe it's not, it just ain't working. If it's not working, do an honest evaluation. Don't let the ego stop you from going back. And don't let the fact that people say, oh, you shouldn't be allowed to go back. Hey, they'll take you back. They'll take you back. Be real with yourself. Was it really as bad as you felt like it was? Maybe it wasn't. Was it really something that you could work on or, make better? If so, think about going back. If your honest evaluation is like, I really thought that was unbearable, I'm happy I'm going, even though this ain't going well right now, I'm going to ride it out because that was terrible. That's why we went through all of those phases. Because it should be, even if your honest evaluation is saying it ain't really rocking the way you want it to right now, you did enough in those phases to be comfortable with the fact that even if I got to go forward and do another check-in later on, I'm cool with my decision. What you want to do with that is honestly evaluate your decision. First, you want to do a 30-day evaluation. Then you want to do like a 60-day evaluation. Then you may do one like every 6 months. Then you may do one like every year. Am I happy with my choice? Because a lot of times what people do is they make a good choice or a bad choice and they just kind of stuff it down and they never really think about it seriously again. That way, if they find somebody else, they get a new relationship going and they meet this same crossroads years later, a year later, 2 years, whatever the number is, they meet the same crossroads. Since they they never were really real about the last situation, they can't be real about the new one.